Hello. There's a spirited debate going on in my Discord server right now, or there was earlier, about the ordinance that the county in Florida implemented. To remedy some of the issues they were having with hate the state. Anytime you're going to determine whether or not a ordinance or statute is constitutional, first thing you want to do is you want to read the whole ordinance. Read the whole thing. If the whole thing was read and understood, you would see very quickly that it deals only with county property. Buildings, conveyances, lands, things like that. And the enforcement mechanism, if you don't follow that particular ordinance, is you will immediately be trespassed from that county property. So it doesn't apply on the public sidewalks. The sidewalks, board of the roads, it doesn't apply on. It doesn't apply on those because you can't get trespassed from those, to the best of my knowledge. It would apply on interior sidewalks, a la US v. Kikinda. The sidewalks that lead from parking lots to the doors of buildings. If it's a campus where there's multiple government buildings, the sidewalks interior that connect those buildings together, those would all be county property. We've seen that kind of trespassing happen before, just in case you think they can't do that. We saw that happen with Padilla in Leon Valley. We know it can be done. We've seen ordinances or other rules, regulations, things like that, where you can't film someone without their permission. We've seen that in Tucson Police Suck, his visits with the court. We've gone over the court rules, the courthouse rules for that particular courthouse, and they don't allow filming if the person being filmed doesn't allow it, doesn't want it. So odds are, as written, as applied, the statute is constitutional. Odds are. You got to remember, Adderley v. Florida, the state, no less than a private owner of property, has the power to preserve the property under its control for its intended lawful purposes, or something very similar to that. So we know the test from Adderley v. Florida. The test from Adderley v. Florida is, number one, is it reasonable? And two, is it viewpoint neutral? Brain fart. Reasonable and viewpoint neutral. Is it reasonable? The court's going to look at all the factors. One of those factors is the amount of disruption that hate the state was causing, and I would bet a shiny brand new American nickel that the court would find those restrictions to be reasonable. And they're viewpoint neutral, so at least on their face, so that doesn't seem to be an issue. Now, the hot topic was, can the county enforce this ordinance on the sidewalks that run along the public streets? And that would be an interesting point. The ordinance itself doesn't address that. So I don't think the ordinance on its face would apply to the public sidewalks that border the street. But if let's for a mental exercise, let's ask ourselves, can the state or the government in any flavor restrict filming on a public sidewalk? Yes, they can. We know that because in every First Amendment filming the police case that's made it to an appellate court, the same language has been dished out by the judge who's writing the opinion, and that is that you have the right in a public place to film your public officials in the performance of their duties, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. So, could Florida implement some policy, or the county implement some policy about filming on the sidewalk in that county? Maybe. I mean, it would have to be subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. It would have to serve a significant or important government interest. Maintaining the smooth operation of county buildings is an important or significant government interest. I would posit to you. It would have to be narrowly tailored to fit that government interest. So, if they said, well, you can't film directly in front of these county buildings, subject to the terms of this ordinance, blah, 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 then, maybe that's narrowly tailored enough. It has to leave open ample alternative channels of communication. You could do all sorts of other things. You could cross the street and film. You can take notes. You can remember. You could chant. You could do all sorts of other wonderful things. I think it would pass on that. I don't know. The real big one, it has to be content neutral and viewpoint neutral. And that's, I think, where it might fall down. While it is content and viewpoint neutral on its face, I think where it would fall down is in the way it was implemented in implementation. I think that would be the deal, because you do have a right to film your public officials in the performance of their duties. And if they are going to arbitrarily be able to say, no, you can't film me while I'm right here, or while you're right here, I guess, technically, because it would be limited, I guess, to the area in front of the county building. But if they said you can't film me here, that would probably not be content or viewpoint neutral. I mean, if you were a sycophant, if you like them, if you were a fan of what they were doing, they would probably be much more likely to allow you to film and give you the interview. And if they didn't like you, or they didn't like your style, or they didn't like your channel or your views or whatever, they might be less prone to it. So there might be a real arbitrary kind of enforcement issue there that would make it it may still be content and viewpoint neutral on its face. In implementation, I think it might run into issues. So that's my bit of blather about it. So I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.